New at 4, the man who once called himself Clark Rockefeller was sentenced today for a California cold case murder. His real name is Christian Gerhardsreiter, and he received 27 years to life in prison. He was a German national convicted of killing John Sohus in 1985, but he did maintain his innocence in the California trial. Gerhardsreiter tried to read a motion in court today, but the judge refused to let him do that. In 2009, he was convicted of kidnapping his 7-year-old daughter during a supervised visit in Boston. Authorities have authorized the police to use deadly force to protect themselves from attacks. This order follows the deadliest day of violence since President Mohamed Morsi was ousted by the military last month. Security forces assaulted 2 sit-ins where thousands of Morsi supporters were camped out. 638 people were killed. Most of them are Morsi supporters. President Obama is condemning this crackdown.
We deplore violence against civilians. We support universal rights essential to human dignity, including the right to peaceful protest.
The president has also canceled joint U.S.-Egyptian military exercises, but he gave no indication in his statement on the Vineyard today that the U.S. planned to cut off military aid to Egypt. And the state trooper who leaked the arrest photos of the surviving bombing suspect is back on the job and on patrol. A state police spokesman says that Sergeant Sean Murphy has been assigned to the Athol barracks. He used to work out of the Framingham headquarters. Murphy served a short suspension and was placed back on desk duty last month after leaking the photos of a bloodied Jahar Tsarnaev. He leaked the photos in response to what some perceived as a glamorous photo of Tsarnaev on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
A Massachusetts teenager is recovering this afternoon after crashing an allegedly stolen car while running from police. It happened this morning on Route 28 in South Yarmouth. According to police, an officer saw a PT Cruiser that matched the description of a stolen vehicle. They say the car sped away, and the officer later found the car crashed into a tree. The 15-year-old driver is expected to survive injuries suffered in the crash. He will face charges, including larceny of a motor vehicle.
Right now on NECN, all eyes are on Tom Brady as he returns to Patriots Place for practice the day after a knee injury scare. He's got a brace on. Plus, back in court, the man accused of brutally killing a South Boston woman. His attorney says he tried to kill himself just hours before seeing the judge. And the president interrupts his Vineyard vacation to make his first statement on the ongoing bloody conflict in Egypt. More than 500 lives have been claimed since just yesterday.
Boston's South Station is known as a travel hub. But how about a place where economic history is being made? That just might be the case, because tucked away on the station is the first Bitcoin ATM in the United States. What is a Bitcoin? Liberty Teller co-founder Chris Yim has the answer.
I like to think of Bitcoin as internet cash. It has the security and privacy of cash with the convenience of the internet, so you can use Bitcoin in person or anywhere online.
Bitcoin was invented about 5 years ago by an anonymous person or group of people as a form of international internet currency, something independent from government regulation. In order to own Bitcoin, a person must either mine them online or they can purchase them from other owners. This is where Liberty Teller comes in.
I tried buying some myself, and it involved going through a site similar to Craigslist. So I had to meet someone online, bring a lot of cash, and kind of hope that they were going to follow through. I knew for mainstream adoption to take off, that would have to change.
Bitcoin owners have addresses that show their funds in a public online ledger. As shown, this paper QR code is not the money itself, but a credential to go online and show that you are the person who owns the funds. Another private address allows you to spend the money.
Our machine lets you load money at this address, but other than that, we don't have anything to do with it. So you can use us one day and never come back again, and you'll always have your money.
Though Liberty Teller is a business, their mission is to educate and onboard Bitcoiners, especially in light of the recent negative reputation that Bitcoin has been receiving. Currently, online retailers take Bitcoin. Overstock.com, Foodler, and OkCupid are among the few.
If Bitcoins catch on, they may completely eliminate the need for one of these. But do they have a future in Boston?
Liberty Teller believes it's possible.
Just as a good concentration of really smart people, technology adopters, and very, very high traffic. And you put all those together, and I think this could be a critical mass for where Bitcoin adoption will really take off.
There are only 2 restaurants in the Boston area that accept Bitcoin. Veggie Galaxy, a restaurant near Cambridge's Central Square, has been accepting Bitcoin since last May after being approached by Bitcoin enthusiasts.
That there's no exchange risk from my perspective. Basically, there's a payment processor that I use. So when we accept Bitcoin transactions, it automatically gets deposited into the business account at the then current U.S. currency rate.
Accepting Bitcoin can be a good decision for businesses since it saves them money on credit card transaction fees. Although Veggie Galaxy does pay a small fee to have Bitcoin converted to US dollar automatically, it is significantly cheaper than a credit card fee. Bitcoin has also drawn customers to the restaurant.
There are definitely a few regular customers that we now have who came here because of Bitcoin and now come on a regular basis.
Veggie Galaxy does not expect to stop accepting Bitcoin anytime soon. And as for Liberty Teller, they hope to stick around as well.
We're really going to go where the opportunities make sense, where we think there's a lot of people who want to know more about Bitcoin and there doesn't exist something like this already.
For BUTV, I'm Carolyn Maynard.
Thousands of registered voters in Boston headed to the polls yesterday as part of the preliminary mayoral elections. But this year's election day was different than past, with both a lower voter turnout and a large candidacy pool.
It was very difficult to focus on certain individuals because the information about them was so spread out.
With 12 candidates hoping to become Boston's newest mayor, yesterday's historic election will determine which two will go head-to-head in November, ending Mayor Menino's 20 years in office.
I heard someone liking it to the fact of speed dating, that, to have 12 mayoral candidates like speed dating, trying to figure out, well, who is it that I want?
Even though it was a little bit confusing because there were so many names, it was actually better in a sense that everyone was more aware that was going on.
The Boston Board of Elections Department tweeted that as of 6 p.m. yesterday, less than 25% of registered voters casted their ballot.
Outside City Hall just a couple of hours before the polls closed, it was a pretty empty scene. But voters are wondering why that is. Is it because of the large candidacy pool or because it's only the preliminary elections?
I think once it's down to two candidates running for mayor, that it will sort of sharpen people's focus. So I think we may see a much larger turnout in November.
November 5th will be the day for Bostonians to make a final decision on who will follow Menino's legacy. In Boston, for BUTV 10, I'm Maria Martinolich.
Over 100 costume dogs and their owners took to the Esplanade this weekend to take part in the Esplanade Association's 3rd annual Canine Promenade.
There's so many dog owners that use the park, and we all love Halloween, and it's a great way to get that community. There's so many different communities that use the Esplanade. It's a great way to get them out to the park and celebrate Halloween and get them all together, and it's so much fun. And we just think the dogs are adorable, so we enjoy it ourselves.
Just here for the fun. She has friends here.
Dog owners pulled out all the stops to find the most creative costumes possible. They ranged from a Sharknado duo to an oversized baby.
We've come for the past 2 years. We've dressed up every year, so we wanted to come for the 3rd. See if we could go for a win.
I see a lot of good competition, so I don't know how good the chances are.
The dogs participated in a short walk, culminating in a judging session across the hat shell. Prizes were awarded on both an individual and group basis. And the winners?
Scrolling through the internet, found the best costume, I thought, and it paid off.
The Pope and a trio of Waldos.
Hey, we won!
With such a great turnout, it looks like Boston dog owners will already need to start planning their costumes for next year. For BUTV 10, I'm Carolyn Maynard. Such a great turnout, it looks like Boston dog owners will already need to start planning their costumes for next year. For BUTV 10, I'm Carolyn Maynard.